So let's take a deeper dive. And here I have an example to illustrate some of these concepts and all the lessons that we have learned. What you see here is actually an example of one app. It is a Hive query that is being run by a workflow. This is it turns out to be a Tidal workflow. The Tidal enterprise scheduler is being used. You can see the metadata such as which user is submitting it, which cluster is being run. But even more importantly, there are other key things such as, hey, what is the input data this app is reading and what is the output data that it's kind of writing to? And along with that, all the important KPIs like the duration, which might be important for the ensuring that your SLAs are being met after migration, or the amount of IO, which might be important to estimate the cost once this migration is actually completed. Once you're collecting all of this fine-grained data, you can start building what we actually call a lineage graph. So I've illustrated a lineage graph here. For simplicity, you can think of the graph as having the yellow nodes, which represent the application itself, such as this Hive query, as well as the green, the green dots, which represent the data sets, the input and output data sets. And as you start to build this information from the fine grain of apps being scheduled, you'll quickly realize that the overall lineage graph of even a single pipeline might be pretty complex, right? But once this information has been extracted, it can be used in many different ways to estimate and simplify the entire journey of migration. Uh, First on the assessing and planning, and as Hari will tell you how it can be used in the migrating, validating, and optimizing. Let's just deep dive into a simple example here on how this data has helped our customers. A lot of the time, customers don't migrate the entire pipelines and their entire workload in one shot. It is actually split into waves. But then you have to decide what is the order of these waves. Right? A common way in which these waves actually work, especially if your motivation is to free up resources and reduce cost, then you might want to use the annotated lineage graph to identify those pipelines that contain jobs which will actually have a huge resource need, but not all the time. And these are great fits for the elasticity of a modern environment such as Databricks or an EMR. And at the same time, on the other hand, if you're optimizing for agility, maybe you want to focus on migrating those pipelines first that might be generating very popular data assets that might be getting consumed by many tenants in your organization. And once you migrate these pipelines, very quickly you can improve the agility because the tenants can then start using their platform of choice, maybe EMR, maybe Databricks, or maybe Snowflake, to then start extracting value from data and shipping their apps faster. So that was a quick overview of the lessons that we have learned in the assessing and planning phase.